Hello everybody and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I want to share with you guys a really good recipe. Those of you who made this recipe before, you guys know what I'm talking about. But if you are new to this channel, I would like to introduce a new recipe. It's called scones. You can have any filling, any topping that you like. Here's one that I would like to make today is with walnuts. And here's the one that how it looks like. It comes out like a pizza. It's circle dough, and we cut the dough in triangles, which it comes out about 8 pieces from one batch. And I will walk you a step by step how to make an amazing recipe, and you can share with your friends and family, and you guys can make it too. If you guys made this recipe before, write me in the comments what filling, what topping you guys use. But if you haven't, then stay with me and I will walk you a step by step. So here is the recipe that I follow by. It says to use 2 1/4 cups of flour. And for the flour, we like to sift the flour. That way there is no small pieces of dry flour in there. And make sure it's all sifted, all nice. So here's our flour sifted, and we're gonna add our flour into our mixing bowl here. And our next ingredient says to add 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder. So over here in our small little cup, we have 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder, which is on this side. One teaspoon of salt, which is over here, as you see. And then we have our next ingredient is it's 1/4 of cup of brown sugar, which we have all over here. So we're gonna add all those 3 dry ingredients into the flour, and pretty much add all ingredients together and give it a good mix and form your dough, and you're good to go. The next one is we're gonna put 1 large egg in here. And also we're gonna add in there 1 teaspoon of vanilla or maple extract. And today I'm adding a maple extract, and this is the one that I like to use. Costco has it. I'm sure other stores like Walmart and whichever grocery stores near you, they have it too. Pretty good syrup. You can use it for pancakes, waffles, pretty much anything that you like. And then we have 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping. This is the one that I like to use. So we have 3/4 over here. We're gonna add it in here. Last but not least, our last ingredient here is butter. So we have 1 cube. We have 1 stick of butter, which is can be room temperature, or you can melt in a microwave for at least 15-20 seconds. So we're gonna add this butter here. It's pretty easy recipe to make. You can make it in the fall, you can make it any season that you like, and whatever ingredient that you have, you can add it inside. So now we have all ingredients in here. We're gonna mix it pretty good and form it into a dough. And this is how it's gonna mix. One thing that I want to mention, you guys, never skip this step of adding baking powder into your scones, because that way your scones, they're not gonna be puffy. But like it says over here, that's double acting baking powder, when you add that into the scones, they make the scones puffy, and as it's gonna bake, it's gonna be rising pretty good. So I will show you when it's baked, and you will see the difference of adding baking powder and without it. So this is how our dough looks like. It's really fragile dough, so you have to work with it really careful. You can put a little bit of flour on a parchment paper, and then once you put it into the oven to bake it, you can remove the flour, and you're gonna take a roller and you're gonna press it really light, not too much, but just a little bit. I'm gonna roll it on all of the angles here and make sure it's all nice. And if the dough is sticking to the roller, welcome to add some flour there. And that's how pretty much it turns out. And we're gonna use our pizza cutter, and we're just gonna cut it into triangles, just like that. And then we're gonna remove our flour and then transfer this into our baking sheet over here and pop it in the oven. So that's how our scones look like. And we heat up our oven to 350 and put in the oven to bake for at least 15 to 16 minutes, or until the edges are slightly brown. And then we're gonna remove it from the oven, transfer the scones to wire rack to cool completely. These are the scones that I baked the other day, and I totally forgot to put the baking powder in there. And you can see over here, I mean, they taste delicious though, they are good, but they are not puffy, and they're supposed to come up at least like another inch over here, and they're supposed to be a little bit puffy like I mentioned, but it didn't turn out the way it is because there was no baking powder. So with this recipe I will show you. So with today's recipe I added some baking powder, and you're going to be able to see the difference with and without. So next time you guys make those scones, do not skip this ingredient of adding baking powder. So while our scones are baking, the next thing we're gonna do is make the glaze, and the glaze is maple. So over here it says in the recipe to do 2 cups of sugar, which is powdered sugar, but we're only gonna add 1 cup of powdered sugar because it's too sweet and you're not gonna use up all the glaze. So we're gonna just cut the recipe of glaze in half. So 1 cup of powdered sugar, I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of maple syrup. I'm gonna pour it here, and then we're gonna add 1/4 cup of whipping, just like that. And then we're gonna mix it lightly. So this is how the glaze looks like. This kind of consistency, and it's not too thick and it's not too runny, just enough to top it up on the scones. You can cut the recipe even more. You can cut it in 1/4 or 1/3. You can add half a cup of powdered sugar, depending on how much glaze you want on your scones. And this is it. So I'll show you in about 10 minutes when the scones are done. I'm gonna put the glaze on top and some walnuts. For those of you who wanna save the recipe, here are the ingredients for the scones, and we have it for the glaze, and here are the instructions It's a pretty simple recipe. You bake it for 15 to 16 minutes and it can be stored in an airtight container for up to 3 days. You can enjoy it with tea or coffee. So here is our scones about 15 minutes later, and you can see how puffy they are, and they're really soft, which is really fragile. You have to be very careful with them so they don't break. We have to put them on a cooling rack, that way it can cool off before we put the glaze on top. And they already slowly cooled off, and we're gonna be putting our glaze on top here, the one that we made. It's really good glaze just for the scones. And you can use either a spoon or you can use one of those that you're mixing with and just drizzle over. You can also use your silicone brush and put some of this glaze on top of each scone. And why you keep it on the cooling rack is because the glaze doesn't get stuck to the scone under it. It's gonna drain on the paper that we have under. So just like that. And make sure each scone has enough glaze. And the glaze settles pretty quick though, so we gotta make sure we put our walnuts on top of each scone. It's gonna add that delicious crunch to the scone, and it's gonna taste amazing. So here we have our walnuts. If you like your walnuts to be crunchy, what you can do is put in a skillet and on a medium heat, you can just toast them up a little bit, and then you can just crush them in your hand and then just put it on top of each walnut before a glaze settles. That way the walnut settles in together with the glaze, and just like that. It's a pretty easy recipe. Just combine our ingredients together and mix it good, roll it out. And once again, don't forget the secret ingredient, which is the baking powder that I showed you, because if there's going to be no baking powder, the scone's not going to rise as these did. And it's really delicious recipe. So please share with your friends and family. And when you guys try it, send me in your comments. And here's how it looks like. They taste amazing, and that's what the scones look like. You can add strawberries as a filling, you can add peaches. The varieties are endless and they taste amazing. So thank you guys to stay up on my channel. Hope you guys enjoy watching this recipe, and hope to see you guys in the next one.